Are you running a marathon? Oh my god, I could never run a marathon. You sure about that? My god, a marathon? That's like 42 kilometers, 26 miles. I don't understand those people.
That used to be me. But here I am with a running podcast, and I'm doing the Boston Marathon in less than a week. Welcome to the Marathon Podcast, your podcast for everything running and endurance sports. On this podcast, we'll have guests on. We're going to talk about running and how you can improve as an athlete, whether that is as a very, very part-time athlete, working out a couple of times a week, or if you want to reach your goals on a much higher level. My name is Christian Warwick. I'm a former professional speed skater, and I did my first ever marathon in 2:52. Today we have a very special guest with us, Chris Sadler, aka Krispy Runs on Instagram. Chris has a very cool running story. He's been running for most of his life, and he did his first ever marathon in 2:53 back in 2021. He's now a 2:43 marathoner, chasing that sub 2:40 marathon. I really enjoyed the conversation with Chris, and I think it's going to be super useful for us as listeners and also for me going forward to the Boston Marathon. He has a lot of good advices on how to run the Boston, how to solve the challenges that will come with the Boston Marathon. I really found this conversation to be useful. I also think that hearing him talk about his coaching, how he's coaching his athletes, and how he's really going all in to make sure that they have the best program and training plan possible. I think that we'll just have to jump into the conversation with Chris because I'm super excited about this and I can't wait to hear it again.
I'm from Michigan, but I just bought a house, so...
Oh, really?
Still,
Congrats.
yeah, thanks. We're still working on it, so hence the lamp with no lampshade and stuff everywhere up here.
That's cool. So do you live where you're from? Just where you grew up?
40 minutes from the city that I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's all pretty close around here.
Cool. And how do you know the Life in Stride boys?
So I moved to Louisville last year for 6 months for my job. I work at Ford Motor Company. I'm an engineer there.
Yeah.
So I went down there to work in one of the car launches, and kind of just met them randomly, through Strava, and where I lived is where they trained pretty much. So met with Scotty and just kind of, grew from there.
Cool, yeah, because how far? So my geography with the states and everything. It's pretty hard, but so how far is that from where you are based?
5.5 hours. So
yeah,
it's a bit of a drive.
I thought. I thought there was quite a distance.
Yeah.
It just didn't really make sense. So you just lived there for a while, and then you met them, and now you're back in Michigan.
Yep. Yeah. So going down there, I knew out of the gate that I wasn't there for a while. It was just a quick little rotation. But we're close now, so it was an amazing kind of experience, and now we're gonna be lifelong friends, which is cool, all because of a work trip.
Yeah, super cool. It's been really cool to obviously follow their podcast. I love listening to their podcast.
Yeah, they're awesome.
But also the podcasts that you've been on, because you've been on a couple of them, right?
Yeah, I don't know how many now. Maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
They're usually the banter ones where we just talk smack and go back and forth.
Yeah. No, but I like it. I really enjoyed the last episode that you guys had.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're from Norway, right?
Yeah, I'm from
That's
Norway.
Sweet.
But my fiance is from Mass, so she's actually from just I'm now 40 minutes outside of Boston.
Really?
Yeah.
So you live here now in the States?
No, we actually got here last night.
Oh,
so we
really?
flew in from Norway. Yeah. So we're here for the week.
Wow.
So
did you meet her in Norway or in Boston?
Yeah, we met in Norway. She
Really?
moved there in 2018, and then we met in 2020. So mid-COVID.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. I never imagined. I didn't have, obviously, I knew about the States, and I've been here for a couple of times before I met her, but I never pictured myself we're now here 4 to 5 times a year.
Really?
yeah, it's been a lot, especially lately. It's just been occasions of like family stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
also the first marathon that I did in Rhode Island,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so yeah, so did that one there, and then now back here for the
Wow.
marathon on Monday, and
Yeah, you
yeah,
excited?
it's been. Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually weird, like coming from having been an athlete before where I
Mm-hmm.
was used to having bigger competitions and stuff. I don't think I've ever experienced my body like subconsciously being so nervous slash
Yeah,
ready for something because I haven't slept like it's my sleep hasn't been bad, but I've been more
mediocre.
nervous. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I've just woken up like at 5 6 a.m. by myself,
Yeah.
just been like, oh, I'm ready for the day, kind of.
Yeah.
And also, like yesterday flying in here and
You're probably jet
obviously
lagged too, right?
yeah, not yeah, I probably am, but I can't feel it yet. I had a good
Yeah.
night of sleep, and so
Yeah.
so far it's good. I usually transition pretty well actually this
Okay.
way. It's worse when I go back.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
What's the time difference?
6 hours. So it's
Oh,
not
wow.
yeah
It's
yeah.
not,
So
yeah,
it's
not
like
terrible, but
it's not terrible, but it's still obviously an adjustment. So, but
definitely.
that's also why it's super nice, and we're very lucky to be able to go here, live for free, like stay here for
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
and not have to like consider whether I want to
Mm-hmm.
go how many days before I want to go to, because like when you're running a marathon, it's nice not to be jet lagged.
Yeah.
And for some of them, I think it would have been okay because it's usually an early start. But with
Mm-hmm.
Boston, it's 10
I
a.m. So
know.
it's much later. I honestly didn't know until like a few weeks ago. I was
Dude,
like,
when I was training
what?
for it, I kind of just forgot throughout the block. Because, I mean, I do all my runs in the morning, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ah, dang, I haven't done a run at 10 a.m. when we start. I feel like I should probably do one of those.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a weird start time.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Let's just jump into the pod. Like,
Absolutely.
I would love for you to just introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Obviously who you are as a non-runner, but also as a runner, and your running story.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I am Chris Sadler, otherwise known as Krispy Runs on Instagram. My day job is an engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer at Ford Motor Company. So I work on the F-150 platform. So I get to drive trucks around all day and work on the transmissions. But before that job, I'm running, and after that job, I'm running and lifting. So I started running back in 2014. That's when I started running cross country in high school. Didn't really care too much for it. Baseball was my main sport, and went on to play that in college. So I wasn't really focused on running. Just kind of did it as a way to stay in shape in high school, and I had some friends doing it. So didn't really commit to the process. Didn't dive into all of it, and that kind of showed as I wasn't the best at it. But fast forward to 2021 or 2020 when I met my now fiance. She got me back into running, and as soon as you do one race, you get the bug, and you're bit by
Mm-hmm.
it. So, now training for my fifth marathon. I've done I don't know how many halves or and all these other races, but I'm yeah, I've come a long way from the first marathon, and I'm now training for my fifth, which is actually the same course as my first. So kind of cool to do that. I'm excited to go back and kind of hopefully finish a little bit stronger. It was still a great race, but being my first, I balked pretty hard at the end.
Mm-hmm. Which one is that?
It's the Bayshore Marathon. It's
Mm-hmm.
up in Traverse City. I don't know. This might not. I don't know what the camera's like, but Michigan. It's like up here.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's a good race. I convinced all the Life and Stride guys to do it too.
Yeah, because I heard you guys talking about that on the
Yeah.
pod that you were doing it, and I was also talking to Danny, and he was first, I think, prioritizing Boston, but now he's gonna
Mhm.
prioritize that one
Yeah, he
more.
flipped it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How is
it's
that
the
course? Is it a fast one?
yeah, it's super fast. A lot of people in
Okay.
Michigan use that for like their OTQ
Mm-hmm.
course. It's an out and back, which is somewhat weird, but it's on a peninsula, so you got water, on either side, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you run literally 13.1 miles up to the end of the peninsula and then 13.1 back down, but there's next to no elevation in it. It's flat. The weather is usually, a little bit warmer, but it's, the upper part of Michigan, so it's pretty cold. in the morning, and it's an early start of 7:15, I think, which is pretty
Okay,
early.
yeah.
Nice, I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a beautiful course. There's people in their boats and in their yachts on the side of the course,
Nice.
honking their horns while you run, which is pretty neat. But yeah, it's a fun
Cool.
course.
Is it a big one? Like how many runners will there be there?
It kind of varies every year. I think with it being close to Boston, kind of. I mean, after Boston, but it's I think definitely over. I'm curious now. Let me look at what
Yeah.
the last year. The half is super super popular there. Um,
Is
that
that on the
sells out
same
every.
course, or is like so they're doing kind of just the same, just shorter?
Yeah, they had the half participants actually get bussed up to the top of the peninsula and start
Hmm.
on like a corner, and then so as you're running up the marathon, you're passing
Yeah.
the half people that are going down.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
I actually like so the actually the only marathon that I did, but also like I did one in training. I kind
Hmm.
of like it when there's like almost a turning point like that
I
where
agree.
you
Yeah,
run one way and back, because then it's just so easy. Okay, now I'm halfway there, and then
and
it's
we're
just
like,
like
I'm
okay,
going
I'm
back.
just
I'm heading home.
yeah, I'm just heading back. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, hold on. This is loading. It's definitely not as big as like the majors, but nothing's as big as
No.
that. But it sells out every year, so I'd say in the thousands.
Okay, well that's cool. That's
Yeah.
nice. So they're like all level runners and
Yeah, there's usually a pretty good field. There's one guy that
mm,
has won it, I think 3 years in a row now.
wow.
He usually runs like anywhere from 2:15 to 2:19. So
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good.
yeah, it's a pretty
Yeah.
good field. And then again depends every year. You usually have a you know 1 through 20, 1 through 25 to 30 people are
Hmm.
getting under 240. So it's a good spread.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But you did pretty well because you did your first one there, and that was 2:53, right?
Yeah, yep. My first one was there, and I ran a 2:53. So yeah, I was pretty happy with it, but I was pretty dead at mile 18.
Yeah.
I think I was on like 2:49 pace 1 through 18, and then it just all hit me.
But did you expect to run that fast? Because I mean, like most people will spend years trying
Yeah,
to do a sub 3 marathon, and then you do
yeah.
a 2:53 is pretty impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, so my original like plan going into it was to break 3. And
Hmm.
then as training went on, it just kind of I was progressing a little bit quicker than I thought. Ran a few halves in that block where I ran 125 and 124 on some really tough courses, really hilly, but Bayshore's flat, so I kind of was like, all right, well, let's take off 2 minutes off those respectively in my
Hmm.
head. So
Hmm.
going into it, I was like, I'd be pretty stoked with 255, 257. We'll see,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
miles 1 through 15, I think we were averaging like a 6:30, 6:35, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh well, I've banked quite a bit of time here. I don't know,
Hmm.
so I was pretty shocked, crossing. I was like,
Yeah.
dang, 253. I wasn't really expecting that nor planning for that. Um, but I guess that kind
Were you
of
run?
opened the doors.
Yeah, were you running in a group then? So you were a bunch of people
Yeah. So
finishing together.
I ran with my cousin actually, who before that, I forget how many marathons he'd done, but he'd done Boston before. So the whole goal was to get me to qualify for Boston, and then we run it together.
Hmm.
And he ran with me and pretty much paced me the entire time. We had a pretty good
Cool.
group, like 1 through 13, and then kind of him and I just broke off and kind of worked together the rest of the race.
Yeah. So did you with the 2:53? Then you obviously were you pretty confident after that? Okay, now Boston
Yeah,
is secure, kind of.
yeah, I was pretty confident. Because at that time it was still 3 hours,
Yeah.
so it wasn't. I think it's 2:55 now or whatever.
Yeah, it's
So
2:55 now. But
yeah,
the cutoff time this year was 2:53:09, right? Like, cause
yeah.
I did 2:52, and I was like, okay,
Oh
I'm super
gosh.
conf I'm confident that I will
Yeah.
get to Boston. But then, like the last couple of weeks, and you start reading online,
Mhm.
and just like people are saying, oh, I think the cutoff time might be like 8 minutes
Yeah.
or 9 minutes, maybe even more. And I was like,
Yep.
oh no, maybe I'm not. Because then it was still 3, right? Like it's
Yeah.
now going forward. That's 2:55, and I was like, oh, I'm in for sure. But then I was like, have I been claiming claiming my ticket kind of for
Yeah, I
for
felt
a
that
year with that.
when
Yeah.
I like register, sign up, and everything. I was like, I should be fine. Like I was looking at the years past, and that was before all the crazy jumps had happened. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, that'll be all right. But 20 whatever year I did, that was the first year they did like 5+ minutes or whatever
Mhm.
in a
Mhm.
while. So I was like, oh
Yeah.
gosh, that was kind of scary. So I
Yeah.
had 6 minutes and some change, which I was fine. But after that, I was like, okay, that was a little nerve wracking. And then I ended up doing another marathon that year in the fall and qualified again for the following year. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right,
Yeah.
if I don't get in, I got this too for the
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
But
Right. Yeah.
it was definitely nerve
It,
wracking.
yeah. I mean, because I felt the same way about this one, where I was thinking that if as long as I do like a 255,
hmm
256, then I'll be fine.
Yeah,
Like no doubt about it.
that's
I
what I
didn't
felt
really
too.
yeah, and I didn't have a relationship to like
hmm
Boston and the qualifying part until 4 months prior when I started
hmm
working. It was actually my brother-in-law he was training for it, and he was like, okay, the
Oh yeah.
goal is 255 or sub 256 because I think that's how fast we need to run. He said, and I
Yeah.
was like, okay, fine. Had no idea about the pace either, like
Yeah.
how fast that actually was. But then obviously it was great doing a 252, but I'm so happy that I did, and that I didn't just
Yeah.
kind of just like during the marathon I could have been like, okay, I'm fine with this. This is my first marathon. I'm gonna
hmm
do a 255, and then I'm probably gonna run Boston anyways. But yeah, it's crazy how hard it is now.
It's
Like
yeah.
going forward, it's gonna be
I know. I coach guys too, and I'm like, we gotta if you want to qualify, you almost need to run like a 250 now.
yeah, I
Pretty
know.
much
It's
is your it's
insane.
just yeah, it's quite the jump now. So it's hard to because beforehand, 650 for sub 3 hours, like it's a little bit more digestible
Hmm.
versus all right, you gotta average 630s for
Yeah, I know.
the
It's
length of it to
insane.
qualify
Yeah.
now, it seems.
I also kind of think, I don't know what your take is on this, but I kind of feel like they should have had their own qualifying time for so like if you qualify for Boston and you want
hmm
to run it in the following year, like they should have had a time where it's like, okay, if you do the Boston, then
hmm
there's a different qualifying time at the Boston, if you know what I mean, because
Yeah.
since it's so much, at least to a lot of people, it's much harder. I
Yeah.
know that you actually ran faster, right?
hmm
Like at the Boston.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. So like, because the course is so hard, having a different time for if you run that one. Yeah,
yeah,
that's interesting. That'd be a kind of a cool thing to throw in because it would encourage people to really, go balls
definitely.
to the
Like
wall on that course again.
because I think that you have like what Danny's doing now. Like he
Yeah.
is just gonna run it for fun, which is super
hmm
cool too. Like I'm also thinking that it's great to actually have that experience, and maybe
Absolutely. Yeah.
Boston isn't necessarily where you're gonna go all out.
Yeah.
But I also feel like Boston probably wants people to go as fast as they can to get faster
Yep.
times, because if everyone's just going there for the experience, it's gonna end up being almost like a reputation of, oh, but Boston is super slow. And
hmm
obviously it is harder and it's slower than the faster
Yeah.
ones, but maybe it's actually faster than others. It's just that a lot of people are
Yeah. No,
looking
yeah,
at
that's
it as more
definitely
of yeah.
it's definitely like a decision you got to make going into it. Like if you're gonna race this course, you got to be ready to really hurt pretty early on, and you got to be able to sacrifice, the days leading up to it where you're not doing all of
Yeah.
the amazing things that you can do there during the week. So I see both sides of it because I chose to obviously race it and I had
Hmm.
a rough day, but like leading up to it, there were some things that I didn't do, which I wish I did because I was so focused on the race. So it's definitely a tough decision.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm very curious about this. Like obviously now we're 8 days away.
hmm
I'm doing my first Boston, and you've done it, and you
Yep.
did a 252. So
Yep.
it was probably a much better performance than your first one at 253. Um, can you take me through your Boston experience?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So
What was it like, and obviously the race.
yeah. So it was my third marathon. So before that, I actually ran 2:47 at the
Mm-hmm.
Detroit Marathon, and I was going into Boston with like the the original plan was sub 2:45, and then I ran a 1:15.5 in that block. So I was like, okay, fitness is there, but
Yeah.
still need to think about the course and how hard it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into it with like, let's just see if we can, get close to breaking 2:40. So I went out at, 6 flat-ish pace, and
Wow.
and then it was a pretty big struggle from, I want to say, like 10K on.
Oh, wow.
Just because they always talk about your quads blowing up from the
Mm-hmm.
downhill, and I felt it pretty quick, but I held on until halfway pretty much, and then after that I was like, it was also like it was a really hot day, so I just didn't have
Yeah.
I didn't have much in the tank, and I was just hurting. But I mean, yeah, my Boston experience is awesome. I got there. You're great with getting there early. That's gonna be really nice. I got
Yeah.
there, I think Friday. Did all the shakeouts, did all the, shopping on Newburgh.
Yeah.
And going at the expo and picking up your stuff. The expo was really cool because all the volunteers are super like excited for you to get your bib, so they were like
Mhm.
cheering when you get your bib, which is a cool
Wow.
experience.
Yeah.
But the expo I'm like, expos aren't my favorite for some reason. I want to get in there, get my bib, and kind of get out. I feel like they're sometimes overwhelming.
No, okay.
So-
So you're not the one that shops everything.
Correct. Yeah, I'm not the one to go around and check out everything. I think I bought my stuff online at Adidas
Yeah.
beforehand just because I was more so afraid of it selling out. But yeah, I'm not the type. But I did, go see some. There's some cool historical stuff about the Boston Marathon at the expo. But yeah, did all the shakeouts, did all the different events. Explored the city, got probably like 30,000 steps Friday and Saturday. Sunday I tried to stay off my feet, but still probably ended up with like 15. So it's kind of hard to not get steps in Boston, especially if you're
Yeah.
staying downtown. You're not really
Yeah.
driving anywhere. You have to walk or
Yeah.
take the subway or Uber, but Uber's expensive.
But had you
Um,
been in Boston before? Like, obviously not. Okay, so it was your first time in Boston.
This is my
in general.
first time, yeah. So I was
Yeah.
like trying to do the touristy stuff too because it's an
Yeah.
awesome city.
Mhm. Oh yeah, it's
So I
so
was-
cool.
Yeah, I was trying to see everything, but I was like, all right, I gotta be smart. I remember Sunday rolling around, and I was like, oh my god, I'm exhausted, and I gotta run a marathon tomorrow. Oh god.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was Sunday. I remember like almost I was excited for the race to almost be over because I was so like overwhelmed and excited about it, and I was like just nervous. I just wanted to start.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't sleep that well that night, and then morning of, because like we talked about, it starts at 10 a.m. You have feels like a whole day before the race starts because you get up at 5, you eat your first breakfast, and then you got to be down to the buses by I forget what time. You get
It's
on the
pretty
buses.
early.
It's like 7 or something, I think.
Yeah.
Get on the buses. That's like a 45 to an hour drive. It's an awesome drive. Our bus was a lot of fun, but then you got to eat again on the bus because
Yeah.
you've been up since 5, almost 5 hours before the race, and so you're eating again, and then you get to Athletes Village, and you're sitting around for another hour and a half, 2 hours on just
Yeah.
pretty much concrete. I mean, but the vibes and just the feel, everything is awesome because the best of the best are there racing, so it's just
Yeah.
cool to see everyone. But I remember walking to the start line, and I'm like, I'm kind of like mentally exhausted just from all the logistics of the morning, getting there
Yeah.
and whatnot, and trying to eat all this stuff, getting all my stuff together, not forgetting anything. But yeah, then you get to the start line, and you're like, for me, it felt kind of surreal. I was like, oh, this is the start line. Like, it's just kind of like you just walk to the middle of nowhere, and then the national anthem starts, and the gun goes off, and you're like, all right, crap, I'm doing this.
And how was that? Like, 'cause that's what I'm. Or first of all, were you with a group or anything? So like when you were in the Athletes Village, you were not hanging out by yourself. And
No,
just-
yeah.
No.
I was hanging out with Scotty, and all the Corvette people from Louisville, and then we went and hung out with Eric Floberg and Clark, and them
Cool.
for a bit. So yeah, I wasn't alone at all. I had some other friends there.
Yeah. That's what I love about the running community. That
Oh yeah.
there's like, and I feel like I obviously, as a Norwegian, not hanging out with a lot of the runners, I feel like still it's gonna be so easy to first of all connect with people the morning of, but also with this community that is probably much bigger than I kind of feel like. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like connecting with you on Instagram, connecting with the Life in Stride boys and Floberg and Clark, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
having that and how cool that ends up being. And it must be super cool on a day like Boston where everyone's been super stoked about this for months and years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're able to just hang out and share this together with the community that kind of keeps you going
Mm-hmm.
throughout the year. I don't
Yeah,
know, that
you're gonna
must
make
be
a lot of
super
friends
special.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
no one is kind of, because I think behind me on the bus there was a girl from the UK, so
mhm.
she didn't really have anyone to talk to, but she kind of hung around us because,
Yeah.
like you said, the running community is awesome and everyone's included.
It is. I really appreciate it, and I in one of the previous episodes on this podcast, I was talking about how I feel like it's very different from other sports.
Oh
So
yeah.
like I came from speed skating, which is
Mm-hmm.
my best friends are speed skaters, and I love them and I love that community. But I
Mm-hmm.
also feel like because it was such a small community, all of us were competitors in a different way.
Yeah.
Whilst with running, it's just like all of us, we can have these goals that are good for us, and
Mm-hmm.
then some people are trying to do a sub 210, 220,
Yep.
230. You know, like it's not like everyone's competing with each other even. It's just like we're sharing this experience, and it's all about doing that together. And
Yeah.
obviously we're competitive, so if there's someone that is close to you in terms of the times, you obviously want to beat
Mm-hmm.
that person. But it's still very different than I think the other competitive sports,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's a mutual respect for everyone because no matter how fast or, how long it's taking you to run it, you're still doing it and it still
Yeah,
hurts equally for each person.
exactly.
Like I
Yeah.
was I was even talking with my brother yesterday on a run, and we were talking about people who run for, more than 4 to 5 hours.
Hmm.
And whenever I tell people like my times are so impressed, but when I hear someone that's ran like for like a marathon
Yeah.
that takes like 4 to 5 hours, I'm like, I don't think I could do that. I think I
No,
would
exactly.
crash and burn.
I feel the exact same way. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm honestly, and I'm not saying this for like goodwill or like to be
Mm-hmm.
nice. I'm honestly more impressed with people
Yeah.
running like 6 hours for six
Yeah.
hours because some
On
people
your
do like,
feet for that long?
yeah, and like. To be honest, you probably know that the ones running 6 hours, they're also not. They probably they don't have the best like. I don't know. They haven't been running as much as the
Mm-hmm.
others anyway, so it's
Yeah.
probably harder for them to
Yeah.
run in the first place. And then like comparing that to the people doing a like 2 hour marathon.
Yeah.
Obviously, 2 hour marathons super impressive, but it's
Mm-hmm.
two very different ways of being
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
So I can't believe that because a long run. If I went out today and I was gonna run for 6 hours, I don't think I would have been able
I'd need to
to.
stop and have a meal in between. I'd be
Yeah,
hungry. Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's why the community is so awesome because I think there's just the mutual respect for everyone because no matter what you're doing, you're still doing it, and it's still hard.
yeah. And then you got to the start, and like you
Yep.
said, you felt like you were in the middle of nowhere, probably
Yes.
packed with people, and then you
Yep.
know that you have some downhill running in front
Yeah.
of you.
Yeah. You get to the start line, and the sun was completely blaring already, and I was already sweating, and I'm like, oh God, like
Did
it's
you
not
remember
good to be.
sunscreen?
So they actually had sunscreen there.
Okay, they did. Okay, that's
And
good.
I don't know what, but I heard someone beforehand. They're like, if you haven't, put sunscreen on for any of your ones, don't do it now. It'll clog your pores or something. But I was like, whatever. Me and Scotty just lathered ourselves up with sunscreen. Didn't help because, after the race, because you're running point to point,
Yeah.
my entire right side was burnt,
Right.
but my
Yeah.
left side wasn't. I remember I had a entire singlet, like tan line, and it didn't go away for like half the summer. But yeah, you get to the start line, and it kind of like, it starts with the blink of an eye. You get there, get in your corral, the national anthem starts going, and then you hear someone like, "Oh, the pros started. I guess we're soon." And then
Hmm.
a minute passes, and you're running. Start your watch, cross the start line, and then like you said, just 100-foot downhill start. And
Wow.
I'll never forget Scotty looking over him, and he goes, "This is the easiest it's gonna feel. Like, soak it in." So like the first 3 miles, you're not feeling like you're doing anything, and then all that pounding catches up to you. But yeah, I mean, biggest piece of advice is just like soak up that beginning, because even
Yeah.
out there, and you're 26.2 miles away from Boston, there's still people, and they're crazy lining the course and everything. So I think for the first 4 miles, I just stuck to the right side and I was high-fiving everyone I could find along it because it
so
was just so much
cool.
fun.
Yeah.
Probably should have focused a bit more, but I was loving it.
I think that it's like, but I think this is the great part, but also maybe the, like, in terms of running fast, the dangerous part, because
Hmm.
the energy that you're getting, I was talking to my best friend about this, the energy you're getting might feel like physical energy, but it's
Yeah.
not.
Yep.
So it's like you get a lot of energy, it's easy to be hyped, and you'll probably feel like you're running slow even though you're
Yep.
having a high pace,
Yeah,
like fast pace,
exactly. Yeah.
but then you won't really, I obviously think that you will get some energy at the end too from people
Hmm.
cheering, but it's still like it's not like fuel. It's
Yep.
it's not
Yep.
like
Yep.
proper fuel. But how did you solve that? Because this is like maybe the one thing that I'm the most curious slash
Hmm.
nervous about, and that is obviously going out too fast. I don't want to go out too fast,
Yeah.
but I also know that I'm a fairly good downhill runner.
Hmm.
And so I know that, and especially coming from speed skating, where my whole job as a speed skater was to work on my legs, right? So
Yep.
like the strength is pretty good on my quads. So
Hmm.
I'm not saying that it's not going to be a problem, but it's
Hmm.
probably one of the advantages that I have.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I was still thinking that I would try to, like, say if my target pace is 6:30, I
Hmm.
would probably do like maybe 6:20 or something downhill, like
Yeah.
10 seconds faster, but not, obviously if it feels hard then I'm not going to do it, but
Hmm.
I'm not going to go any faster than that even though it probably feels like I could.
Hmm.
What did
Yeah.
you how did you solve that part?
So Scotty and I kind of like agreed at the beginning to no matter how it feels, we're just gonna go out at our goal pace.
Yeah, okay.
And you can't look at your watch every 2 seconds to determine if you're going too fast down the hill. So we just kind of every quarter mile would do like a check in on our watch and be like, okay, we're still within pace.
Mhm.
We had tried to keep it pretty close, like say like our so say just say our pace was 6:05. We didn't want to go faster than six flat. We didn't want to go slower than 6:10 because if you're going slower than 6:10, that means you're putting the brakes on down the hill, and
Yeah.
that's just going to
Yeah.
cause more issues. So
Mhm.
my biggest piece of advice is don't try to bank time on that downhill. Just
No.
go right at pace, and if if you're 5 seconds under, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But just try to be fluid down the hill.
Yeah.
Don't stomp and don't try and put on the brakes or don't just fly down. Just try to be fluid and smooth down the hill without, tearing up your quads because come 15, it's another extremely hard downhill and then that's when the hills start. And
Mhm.
you being a good downhill runner, you're going to have more opportunity to test that out because
Yeah.
with every up there comes a down and then after the hills, it's straight down into the city into the finish. And like
Yeah.
I felt that. It's just it
Yeah.
feels like it's always down. I remember being kind of excited for the first hill because I was like, oh, like give me something different here.
Yeah, okay, that's
But yeah,
but yeah, sorry.
it's just not. I wouldn't say it's a course to bank time. I think
No.
I've met some people that have negative split it, and it's just like that's crazy impressive. But best way to do it is just stay as even as possible through it, and
Yeah.
try not to, just try and stay consistent, smooth throughout it. Don't charge up the hills and don't, you know, kill yourself on all the downhills. Just try to act like a metronome and, be very smooth and fluid throughout the entire thing. But, use those downhills to your advantage towards the end because you can
Yeah.
bank a lot of time on that.
So it's better to use the last downhills than the first.
Definitely. Yeah. The first one is
Yeah.
just try and get into pace.
Yeah.
But no one told me this. Everyone says the beginning is really downhill.
There are two things that I love doing in life, and that is running and making content. And for my content to be better, I need to write music. I've partnered up with Musicbed, and because of that, you can get a free trial of Musicbed by hitting the link down below or in the show notes. Get Musicbed today and make better videos. Back to the show. Mm-hmm.
There's still some rollers in there. I remember
Yeah.
like 3 through 7. I'm like, what? I thought this was supposed to be downhill. Like I feel like I'm still hitting a lot of bigger hills here. So don't be shocked when you hit a few.
I think that's a good thing that you like. I'm happy you're saying that because
Yeah.
I looked at the profile the other day and I was like, yes, there, like obviously there's a a point after
Mm-hmm.
is it 5 miles or something where we're kind of like at the bottom.
Yeah, it like bellows
But
out.
it's still it's not like it's one long downhill
Yeah,
from the
exactly.
start. But
So
then
like,
you have the challenge of all the people too, right? Like, because
yeah,
that
yeah.
is and that is very new to me. So the only marathon that I've done was the 252, and I was solo running it because there was
Really?
one guy in front of me, and then I was the second, and we were like 200 people. So
Yeah.
I was running the whole marathon by myself. I didn't have anyone around me for even a second of it.
Yeah, you're not
So
gonna be alone for an ounce of
no,
this.
no, so that's gonna be, I think, a big shock and a very
Yeah.
different experience. I think good and bad. Like, obviously, you can have some backs, and so you can, like, some of the headwind, you don't have to deal with that by yourself. But I'm curious about especially the first, maybe not 5 miles, but 2 miles, because then you're in a pack of people.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be packed, right?
Don't bob and weave. Don't try and get around people. Everyone's gonna be going out faster than what they anticipated just by nature of the downhill. So just get through that first 5K. Get through
Yeah.
that first 5K of not exerting too much energy and just kind of calming down and taking in the surroundings, whatnot. And then after that, find your group of, if you can find a group that looks like they're working together, go latch onto them, pick someone's back and just stare at the middle of their back and just focus in. That's what I did at Chicago, and it helps so much, just
Yeah.
picking someone and just staying with them. And then if you find yourself overtake them, pick a new back and just kind of
Yeah.
keep doing that. You're never going to be alone. So use that to your advantage. But I think, again, like you said, there's some negatives to it. You can get, a little bit distracted just by the sheer amount of people around you. It can be
Yeah.
maybe a little overwhelming, but just kind
Oh,
of
definitely.
just be dialed into whoever's in front of you.
Yeah. Huh. And then you keep going. Like, you obviously get to the bottom of this hill, or
Yep.
like you said, maybe it's
down,
not
yeah.
one hill.
So, like,
but
you get to the bottom of that, and I think like mile 5 bellows out. Then there's a little decent sized hill around 10, and I think at like 6 there's a little bump or something, but they like you feel them. And then you get to the Scream Tunnel, which was so awesome.
yeah, is it as cool as they say it
Yeah,
is?
it's awesome. It's because I was feeling terrible already at this point, and I remember getting like just a sheer boost of like adrenaline just because it's so loud and people are just screaming at you. And then you have
Were there people around you kissing the girls?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Huh.
I'm sure there was, but I don't remember having to like move out of the way for someone.
No.
I don't know. It was a hot day, so that'd have been a sloppy kiss for someone else. But yeah, there's people that do that. It's hilarious. The whole Scream Tunnel is just funny because all the girls are so into just screaming at everyone, and I'm impressed with how long they can scream.
Yeah, that's impressive. So, are they all drunk, you think?
I think you'd have to be. I think you gotta be.
Yeah, that's because that's what I've been thinking. I was like,
yeah.
you can't do that sober. But yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. It's a good
Yeah.
part of the race. And then after that, I think you have a pretty good downhill. And then you get to mile 15, which is another big downhill. And I have 2 guys that I coach running it Monday, and I was writing out on the one guy's plan, like kind of what we're doing right now, going through it. But I was just telling him, like, all right, mile 15, just a straight downhill. You're gonna feel fantastic on it, but just remember what's on the other side. That's where the first hill starts, and then you got that 3 more after that. So that's where the real race starts, and
But will you say that's
humbling.
the steepest? Is that the steepest one?
Steepest downhill, or
Yeah. Because like on the profile, it almost looks like that might be like the one where it goes.
yeah,
like,
it's pretty drastic.
decline
If you
yeah.
go look at everyone's like previous Boston's, their mile 15 is pretty hot. It's pretty fast, because then 16 is the first hill, and then I forget what's the mile marks in the other ones. I think it's like 17, 19. I know Heartbreak's at 20 or 21, but
Yeah, I think it's like it starts at 16 and ends at 21.
Yeah.
So I in my head I'm like, okay, there's gonna be 5 miles of pure pain. that's what I'm kind of
Hill 2 and
expecting.
4 were the hardest for me.
Oh
So
really?
the second Newton, the first one, I don't remember being that bad. I remember getting over the first one. I was like, oh, okay, that wasn't bad. And then I hit the second one. I was like, dear God, this is like, I'm still going up. And then the third one, I don't remember shocking my system. And then Heartbreak, it's just long. It just takes forever. you're just like, wow, this is a while. And then right after Heartbreak, you have the Graveyard Mile, which is again another downhill.
Yeah.
And I remember that I was just kind of sloshing down, and I was in so much pain. I was like, let's just get down this.
But how? So what I think this is the one that I'm most nervous about, and that is like, how fast can I go, like the first hill and the second hill? You know, because
Like pacing
how
it?
much? Yeah, how much did it affect your pace? Do you like, what was your pace up there compared to the rest of the race?
Well, for me, it's a little different. I was already dying at that point, so I wasn't even caring about my pace. I was more so just caring about getting up it. But
yeah,
I for the guys I coach and for everyone else that's doing it, I always just kind of emphasize don't look at your watch getting up the hill.
no,
Just focus on getting up the hill strong. Focus on pumping your arms, getting up it. You know, not leaning over. Just trying to be smooth, getting up it. You're gonna lose. There's actually a good chart out there that kind of shows you what pace you should run on the hills. But don't be shocked to go 15 to 20 seconds slower than your goal pace getting up it.
yeah.
But you're just gonna make it up on the downhill. So that's why I don't emphasize, because maybe on the last one you can, but there's some people that are really good uphill runners and just kind of like charge the uphill. But I almost think you can mess yourself up by doing that, because you're exerting so much energy to get up, and then you're just changing gears to go down right after. So you got to be strategic and smart about getting up them. And my biggest piece of advice is just don't look at your watch, because it's just going to stress you out. Just get up the hill. Get up the hill, pat yourself on the back, and fly down the other end.
Yeah, because that was my strategy. I was thinking that, you know what, I'm gonna try to get to mile 21 and have a bit more left than I normally would have planned for.
Yeah.
And be like, if I lost a lot in those hills, I will probably be able to get more back.
Yeah, because 21
by
through
feeling good at 21.
Yep.
Because you still have 5 miles left, so it's not like the race is over. And if you can do a negative split on the last 5 at least, that would be ideal.
Yeah, no, you can obviously win the hills and be able to attack them, but my biggest thing is just survive them, just get through them. Check each hill off, because I remember when I was doing it, I'd be like, all right, hill 1 done.
Yeah,
that's sweet. I got 3 more to go. Hill 2 done, and like they're like mini wins throughout that 5-mile section that gets you through it. And then you're at the top of Heartbreak. You're like, all right, dude, like that's it. I just did them. Now we're just down. Just get back to the city.
But how many miles do you? So out of the 5 miles from mile 16 to 21, where the first hill starts and then Heartbreak Hill, how much of that is actually the hills? If you know,
I actually have it in one of the plans that I made for one of my guys. One of the hills, I think the second one, is like a half mile. Just by me estimating, I would say about 3 miles is actually hills.
Yeah.
Probably not even, to be honest with you. So the first hill is not that steep, but it's longer, so it's around like half to 0.6. But again, I don't really remember that one being that bad. I just remember it kind of being longer.
Okay.
And then the second one is 0.4. That one's steeper, so that's when you kind of feel that.
Yeah.
So, we're at about a mile of uphill right now, but the first hill starts at 16. And then the second hill, so 16 to 16.6 is the first hill. And then you have full mile of flat, it's pretty flat. There's no big hills. So then the next hill starts at 17.6, and that's 75 feet. Again, that's kind of the first one that I felt just because of the grade. And that's only 0.3 miles. So the first one's 0.6, second one's 0.3, so you're right around a mile-ish to round up. And then the third hill starts at 19.25. So again, you have another mile in between your second and third hill. That's 69 feet up. That one I don't remember being that bad.
Do you think that is because you were able to kind of get control back?
Yeah, I think
in between
the mile in between them, you're kind of like, all right, let's settle back into pace here, and you get comfy again. And then going into Heartbreak, starts at 20.25 and it goes until 20.7. So that's why I was saying like that one feels long. It's again almost another half mile. So we're at about 2 miles of up, 2 to 2.5 of up here.
Yeah.
And then 21 to 21.5 is 83 feet down. So, if you can just, after 16.6, cover for a mile, get your heart rate back down, 17.9 to 19.25, again, recover. And then same thing after 19.6 to 20.25. That's the shortest distance you have in between them. So between the third noon and heartbreak, that's the shortest recovery you have. If you can just, calm yourself down in between each of those, I think you can do the hills pretty well.
What about the crowd there? Like, is Heartbreak Hill the hill where you feel like you're being carried the most?
Yeah, definitely. The first hill, I don't remember needing to be carried that much, but once you get to Heartbreak, everyone's on Heartbreak, and you're like, because some people are obviously walking up it, and everyone's screaming, trying to get them through it. And I think I actually on Heartbreak Hill, because it was so hot, I took a popsicle from someone. And I was just munching on it during it because I was like, dear God, anything get me up this, because I'm just, I'm in the hurt locker.
I'm impressed you were able to eat that during the race.
Yeah, I took a popsicle during. I think I considered taking an orange during. I took a lot of water bottles that were cold and just dumped them on myself. Like, my entire kit was soaking wet after. And I don't even know if it was sweat or half just fluids from the course.
But what about after? Like, obviously you said you have the haunted or the graveyard mile.
Yeah.
And take us through the last piece of the marathon.
Yeah, so, after 21 through 26, it's pretty cool because you're getting close to the city and you run through Boston College. Might be after that or during Heartbreak. I don't know. You run through Boston College again. Which is super cool because, again, more college kids, they're getting rowdy. That's fun.
Yeah.
And then it feels like the crowds start getting bigger after 21. And again, they're throughout the entire course that are already huge. So, you're like almost surprised, like, how are they fitting more people here? But again, the closer you get to the city, the bigger the crowds get. The energy gets a bit more maybe emotional because you're getting closer. And then you see the Citgo sign, and I don't know what the distance is from the Citgo to the end. It might be like a mile or two, and that's when you're getting really close. You're like, okay, I see the Citgo sign. I just got to get to that. And then you go under an underpass, and that's the last little hill getting up, out of the underpass. And then you turn left on Boylston, and if you're close to your PR time and you're close to your goal time, obviously send it down Boylston and go get it. But if you're off your goal time and time's out the window, soak up Boylston. It is the greatest part of the race. I remember I was like, my neck hurt from looking left to right the entire time, like soaking it in, because it was just so
excited.
Yeah, so much screaming. And then I forget how far, maybe I was a quarter mile from the finish. My fiance and my family were screaming. I found them in the crowd and went over and screamed at them and everything. And dude, just all I can say is just soak it up. I almost didn't want to finish because I was having so much fun. Because if you look at the crowd, you engage with them and you pump them up, they will engage back and scream at you. You just get goosebumps and you're like, I don't want this to end. I'm gonna go turn around and go back out.
Yeah, turn around and do it again.
Yeah.
I was watching yesterday the documentary. There's a 25-minute documentary about the 2018 Boston Marathon where it was super cold, where the Japanese what's his name Yuraki or something,
Yep.
where he won. And so I was sitting on a plane yesterday and I was watching this and I was crying because I obviously it was cool with him and the commentators making fun of him thinking that he just wanted TV time and stuff. But also that feeling, you could just feel the way he felt. And and I was like, I'm doing that in a week.
Exactly.
And it's crazy. I like to say that this is sounds like it's the Olympics for people
for the
who
amateur
are not
runner.
Olympians.
Yep.
Yeah.
It definitely is. And you get treated as such there, everyone, after you finish and you're wearing your medal, everyone's like, oh my gosh, congratulations, all this stuff. But, you're there as a runner and it's a runner's city that weekend. So, everyone's going to, treat you as a celebrity, which is cool.
That is really cool. Hey, we have 12 minutes left, and I really want to hear more about you. Like, I
Absolutely.
love that we were able to talk about Boston, because obviously I'm super excited about this, but I also
Absolutely.
know that everyone, I have a feeling that every runner who's going to Boston next week will probably look up Boston Marathon every day on Spotify and
yeah.
podcast services just to try to get more information.
Oh yeah.
So this
I
is
did that.
yeah. So this is great. But you're not running Boston this year. You're doing it next year, right?
Yeah, I'll
That's
do
your
it next
plan?
year again. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And before that, you're doing, like you said, Bayshore.
Yep.
What are your goals going forward with running?
So yeah, I came off of my PR last year in Chicago was 2:43. So going into this Bayshore, I mean we're almost closing up on the block. I want to get under 2:40. That's the goal. I just did that 10
Wow.
miler in Louisville, and I ran a 55:06, which is around 5:30 pace. So
Mhm. That's fast.
the VDOT conversion is like a 2:33, but I'm no shot in hell I can do that. But me, I think I'm gonna race Bayshore with Scotty and kind of go out at like 6 flattish, which is 2:37, 2:38 pace, and just kind of see if we can get comfortable there and stay there. This marathon is the only one I'm doing this year.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
I'm
so
getting
it's
married
all
in
in on that.
yeah, I'm
Oh,
getting
you're
married
getting
in the
married.
fall
Oh,
so I can't.
congrats.
Thanks. Yeah, I can't
Wow.
fit it in another one.
You're
But,
not doing a marathon on the day of your wedding?
No, I'll definitely run, but I'm not gonna do a marathon. But so yeah, this one's kind of like I don't know, an all or nothing. Hopefully we get good
Yeah.
weather.
Yeah.
So yeah, my goal is to get under 240 and kind of end the year or start/end the year with a really solid goal that I'm proud of. And then
Mm-hmm.
this summer into the fall, I'm gonna kind of focus more on shorter distance stuff, 5K through the half. I wanna break 16 5K, and I wanna run like a 73 half. So
Yeah.
I think that's really
Wow.
important to kind of take a step back from the marathon and focus on the
Yeah.
shorter stuff, because the second you get back to the marathon block and you're like, ooh, I got all this speed right now, like let's convert this into some aerobic strength, and it's just
Yeah.
good to switch up stimulus. So that's kind of
I
my
th-
running goal for the year.
I think what you're saying there is so important, like for several reasons. First of all, for like your mental,
Mm-hmm.
the mental part of the
Yeah.
game, because like training for marathon, especially the training, can be a bit
Mm-hmm.
boring at times, like, or
Yeah.
just takes so much time.
Monotonous,
And
yeah.
it's hard. Yeah. And also just like you're saying, getting that speed, because for me, for instance, I've only now for the last 2 years been focusing on the marathon. Like
Mhm.
I've never even done a half.
Really?
Ever. Never. So like the only time that I've done a half is kind of like halfway through the marathon.
Yeah, during it.
Yeah. And so, but what I can feel now, like last week I had my last hard workout
Mhm.
before Boston. And what I realized that there's not a lot of difference in the pace, but like as soon as I get to like I'm using kilometers, so like a 3:45 pace,
Mhm.
then it's like, okay, I can't keep this up for very long.
Yep.
But then if I go up to say 3:55
Mhm.
and I was steady there, then I could keep that for a very long time again.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's like the
It's-
difference is not a lot in seconds, but in terms of how long I can keep it
Yep.
up, there's a huge difference.
Yeah, it's a
And
fine
I know
line.
that and if I had more speed work in, like if I did
Mhm.
more, then obviously a 3:45 would feel pretty okay, because I
Mhm.
knew that I would be comfortable running at 3:20 at times too.
Absolutely.
But that is I think what you're saying there about mixing it and doing
Mhm.
some other competitions, and also setting yourself new goals, because like
Mhm.
I think Floberg was hitting, like, or he was touching in on this in his last video. He was
Mhm.
saying that he's kind of expecting himself to PR on all the marathons that he's doing, and that is also pretty hard, I think. So if you're only doing
Yeah.
marathons, if you're not like running a PR, it's like you kind of fail.
Yeah,
Obviously
'cause-
not actually fail, but you feel like you failed because that
Mhm.
was the goal. Whilst if you have, say, 2 halves during the spring and then 5 10Ks because you're just
Yeah.
doing it for fun. You can do so many competitions too, like so many races without it being too hard on your body.
Yep.
And you can PR like 5 times every 6 months.
Exactly.
Like there's a chance of doing that at least.
Yeah, like the last 2 years, I've done 2 marathons every year, and it's always kind of been like that's the focus of like, all right, spring, fall, and in between, I do some races, but you only got like 2 shots to end the year with a PR versus if, I'm ready to do some of the shorter stuff. I'm not saying that I want to step away from the marathon. I just want to, take a little bit of time to switch stimulus because, like you said, it's good for your mental, but I also just think it's really good for training. I'm excited to, pick a random Saturday and like go find a 5K and, a local one and be able to go do it without messing up like my fall training block.
Exactly.
I want to be able to have a little bit more freedom in that, which I'm excited about, but, I'll come crawling back. I'm not worried about that.
No, but I think it's gonna help you long term, especially because it sounds like you're in this for the long run.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it's not just Bayshore and then you're done kind of thing. So
I've got bigger goals. I want to be doing this for a while, and helping others do this for a while too.
And you are like the way I found you was through your content on Instagram, and I feel like we're probably in a similar situation here where we're trying to like make some content of ourselves running. And how do you find that like balance and combining that? Because to me, at least, it's hard to focus on. I want to run fast, but I also want to make this into some entertainment kind of thing. Yeah. And sometimes those things are competing with each other. Yeah,
it's extremely hard. And I have zero background with any creative, I'm not a creative individual. I don't have any artistic background. I know you are into photography, right?
I am a filmmaker and photographer.
Yeah, so I can already just tell by watching yours. I'm like, all right, this guy actually knows what he's doing and like has like a, a storyboard and a timeline versus mine. I'm just like talking into the camera like, all right, let's just go rip out some miles, see what happens, blah, blah, blah. But I think that's kind of the fun part of it is it's just genuine. I don't know what I'm doing.
That's the thing, though. That's the thing that I am not sure if... so I see what you mean. Obviously, I know that I'm like technically a professional because like this is my living. But I'm not sure if that makes people feel like they know me better, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So like the genuine, like very... almost the simpler the more simple the production is, I feel like the more you get to know the person, and it's kind of like you get much closer to the person you're
it
following.
Feels real. Yeah.
So I'm not sure, like I'm still personally trying to find that balance of
a niche.
Because I also have this, I obviously feel the pressure to produce high quality content
because that's your living. Yeah.
so I can't like just do something halfway like that, or at least it feels like that.
Yeah,
but maybe
I
that
get
is
that.
also my should be my strategy, being able to do that, because sometimes I end up having months of not making anything because it's just like, oh, I don't have time for it. But I actually always have a time for it, right? But it's just I was watching the reel that you posted this morning from your run. And I think it's really cool, and it kind of grabs my attention, and I want to watch it. But how is it like when you're making that? Do you have a plan? Do you like before you go out and around that, okay, today I'm gonna film this run, and how long does it take you to make it after? And how do you still combine it with the quality of being able to get quality trainings or workouts?
So first of all, I'll compliment your stuff too, because when I see your stuff, I'm like, I think it's grass is always greener. I'm like, damn, his stuff's really cool. Like, I wish I could do that, and but you would think the same. But I usually go out if I try to film my workouts and my long runs, just because those are more interesting than an easy run. But the more experienced in running and like the faster times I've started to pick, it's harder to film during, and especially in like a spring marathon block, I'm training through the winter. And pulling my phone out in,
so
0 degree weather with my gloves on and everything is just not ideal. So it's hard to do that. And I kind of realized that this year I'm like, running at 6 flat pace and like my marathon pace work, and I'm trying to pull my phone out and I can't feel my fingers and whatnot. So I'm like, this is tough. So you almost have to, fudge some clips at the end of the run where you can feel your hands and just get a couple clips. But I usually try to plan at least like some type of intro of just, what I'm doing for the day. And then I try to just get some shots that go with a song that I'm interested in. Like I like music a lot, so I like to pick different songs that go with whatever, run I'm doing. But it seems like I can get a bit more creative towards the end of a training block because, it's getting a bit more, emotional, getting closer to the race.
Yeah.
You're getting closer to your goal. You have all this footage from the entire block. But no, I don't. Yeah, I always wish I could plan out a little bit more. I just think with my, regular job and then training, at the end of the night, I'm like spending, 30 to 40 minutes editing these. I'm like, damn, these aren't even that good. And I'm spending too much time on these. I need to maybe plan a little bit more so I can be more efficient. But yeah, it's just fun. I find it fun just to post them.
I feel you. I feel the same way. And that's like, so I have an Instagram that I've had since I first started.
Yeah, and that one's big,
right? Yeah, so that one has like more than 20,000 followers.
Yeah,
and then I was like, you know what? I'm almost considering deleting it altogether.
Really?
I'm never using it. I'm
really?
using I'm like now I'm trying to kind of just transition into only using the Warwick Runs one.
Yep.
And but what I realized is that I have like 160 followers or something like that on that. It's like nothing. And still, same with this podcast that I'm building up now. It's just, I've realized that now I'm making content for myself. And I we'll see if it grows. I hope that it will. But it's like, if it doesn't, then I'm still having so much fun. Like having this chat here. I'm getting to know you. I'm learning things. It's really cool. So totally regardless of how many people will ever watch the things that I'm making, I still... It gives me a lot. And that is kind of my motivation these days. And I think it's a very healthy way of doing it. But I also know that, like, because I've been making this documentary series on my Boston journey since 23 on YouTube. And I've probably spent like, I don't know how many hours I spent on each episode, but that's like a lot. Like there's a lot of work going into it with the talking heads, and I've even hired someone to film me every now and then to kind of get some
cooler shots.
Angle. Yeah. But it's like you're saying, you're spending so much time and you don't know if it's actually worth it. But I think that at least for me right now, it feels like it's worth it just because it gives me a lot of energy and it makes me happy.
Yeah.
So
I was talking about that with one of my guys that I coach. It's quality over quantity with like the people that follow you. Like I only have like 500 some right now, but I was like where you started off, I had 60 followers at one point. I'm like, dang, 60 people are interested in what I'm doing. But now like 500, which still it's nothing, but I'm like, wow, like it's slowly growing. I've had it for a while now, but I'm like, I'm not making these videos from anyone else. I have fun making them, and it's almost my journal to go look back at like other things, and I'm not expecting anything out of it. I just find it fun. It's a way to kind of document all the hard work you've done, and like you said, I'm doing it for myself. Like it's pretty encouraging when other people say like, oh, I loved your reel, I thought it was funny and all this stuff. I'm like, really? Like, okay, well, that's cool. Or maybe I'll make another one. And it's just you don't really realize what it's doing for other people until you kind of start meeting people like what we're doing right now.
Exactly. And I think that it's so easy to think that, okay, this is just like a short reel, this is just a story. Like I wrote to Clark the other day because it's also easy, like when you're following people, to not actually tell them how much it means. But his like daily stories where he's saying, okay, this is like day 20 of the marathon block, whatever, and I see what he did, it kind of just forces me to be like, oh, Clark did this, so I need to go out and do my, because it's not every day is fun. Like it's not like I want to go out running every day. And I find myself, I said this to Eric Floberg yesterday too. I don't know these guys, like obviously I'm just chatting with them on Instagram, but like I just wrote to him, it's been so nice and like such a huge inspiration to watch these things, because it makes me be like, okay, I'm running the Boston, I need to get my shit together. It's been like, I've had a lot of injuries, sickness, all those things that are bad, and it kind of kills the motivation at times. But then just be like, okay, I want to go. I want to keep going because of these guys and what they're doing. if they're doing it, I have to do it too, you know. Like,
And because
I
you
think
get
that's
to do
good.
it, you know,
Yeah,
you get
exactly.
to do it. You don't have
Yeah.
to, you get to do it. It's a
No,
privilege to do all of it.
Yeah, that is true. I was making a video for Red Bull for Wings for Life, which is like, do you know what Wings for Life is?
No,
Where
but I'm sure.
it's like if you participate, you compete for people who are paralyzed, but
Okay,
like
yeah.
any injuries to kind of to do research on getting
Mm-hmm.
them healthy again. And then I was making these videos with people who had ordinary lives, and
Mm-hmm.
then this one guy, he was sleepwalking, fell down from the fourth
No
floor,
way.
and he was paralyzed from the neck
Oh
and
my
down.
gosh.
Yeah. And I was like, how lucky am I
Yeah.
to be able to go out every day and run? And even though it sucks at times, it
Mm-hmm.
still is great.
That's privilege.
So, yeah, it's a privilege.
Absolutely.
Hey, I really appreciate your time. I know that we're 4 minutes over 12, which
that's all
I
right.
said that we would be done by 12. But
I'm having
I just
fun.
want, that's good. Me too. I just really wanted to give you the chance to kind of promote your coaching a little bit, because I know that you are coaching, and and you also asked me if I wanted to be coached, and like I think that is. When you wrote to me, I was like, that could have been fun. But then I'm on this project, and I don't think
Yeah.
I've actually. I realized when I told you that I
haven't
haven't
told
said
anyone
it
else?
out loud. Like I've said that I want to do a 225, but I don't think people realize that my goal with 225 is to do it self-coached, because like that to me. I love that part of it, to kind of just experiment with it, and I might fail big time. I don't know, but it's so cool. And like if I ever get to 225 and be like, oh, who coached you? It's like, no, I was self-coached.
Exactly.
Coached. That would be really, really cool. But you are coaching like 20 people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, around there.
Yeah, so in addition to your running, your job, and making the content we just talked about, you also have this, and you have a fiance, and you're getting married, and you have a house. Busy life.
Yeah, it's quite a busy year.
But tell me about the coaching. Like, what made you go into it, and how is it, and what does it mean to you to be able to coach?
Yeah. So yeah, when I started my Instagram, someone reached out to me randomly and just asked if I offered coaching, and I was like, I guess I don't, but I can. So, we jumped on a call and started talking, and he goes, oh, this sounds awesome. Like, I'd love for you to do this for me. And kind of, light bulb moment. I was like, really? All right, cool. Like, this could be fun. But, I played sports my entire life. I always had the idea of wanting to be a coach at some point. Whether it be for my kids down the line of, coaching them in baseball or football, whatnot. I didn't expect it to be, coaching marathon runners, but,
No.
Word of mouth is a crazy thing. Started with one guy a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, and now I'm up to 20-ish people. Rotates in and out depending on blocks. And getting new people every week, and coaching guys all around the country, which is awesome, because when I get to travel, I can go run with them. Like next month I'm going out to Denver to run with 2 of my athletes, which is super cool. But yeah, I just kind of got into it by sheer, I guess, luck, because it's obviously it's like a little side business, side hustle, but it's so fulfilling getting people. And I coach people of all skills. Like the guy I'm coaching for Boston is trying to go for a 238. I'm coaching guys that are trying to break 4 in the marathon, and each person that I'm coaching, I put the same amount of like passion and heart into. And each person I'm coaching, I'm scratching my head. I'm like, how should I, design this? Either no matter how fast you're running it, it still takes a lot out of, thinking. So it's just so fulfilling helping someone reach their goal or just start running. Like one of my guys just broke 2 hours in the half marathon, and he called me, super pumped up, super emotional, saying like, dude, I never thought I could ever do this. And
that is so cool.
It makes me like, I sometimes forget that I'm also training, because I spend so much time, calling, texting, and making plans with these guys throughout the week. I'm like, oh shit, like I gotta go do my own stuff. But it's almost like another way to fuel myself. Like, all right, these guys are trusting me to write plans for them. I need to go show out and, make it look like I know what I'm doing. But it's just,
but I'm sure you're learning a lot yourself. Like that's, I think
absolutely.
That by coaching, even though you're obviously then you're coaching them and you know what you're doing, it's kind of, at least I've realized that when I talk about things, I'm like, am I actually listening to the things that I'm preaching? And
no, like even some of the workouts I give people, I'm like, I should probably do this before I give it to them. And, I learn from it and learn from what people like and don't like. But yeah, it's super fulfilling. I want to keep doing it. I want to keep growing, and I want to keep getting more people just because it's so much fun. Like, we have a big group chat, and it's pretty active group chat. And my favorite part is when someone's racing, everyone is tracking that person. And when the person gets back to the phone after the race, they see, 50 messages of like check-ins at each mile, and then like pumping each other up at the end, and everyone's going berserk after it. It's super cool.
You're creating a community.
Yeah.
That is pretty sick.
It's awesome. We just got we're getting singlets in the mail this month. So
nice.
Everyone's gonna be repping those.
Do you have a name for the group too?
Yeah, so it started as a joke, and then I made an LLC out of it, so it's called Sadler Saddles. So
wow, that is actually super cool.
Yeah,
that is cool.
This thing that's got the Sadler saddles, and then a Mustang under it, and then on the back it's like saddle up all down the spine. So it's cool. It's like whenever I get someone to join, I'm like, all right, welcome to the saddle, or you're getting back on the saddle here. So it's cool. It all works out.
That is really cool. And then I'm gonna ask you a question that I think that a lot of people who are coaching, that it would have been beneficial, like when people are on podcasts, because I listen to a lot of podcasts where people are saying, oh, I'm coaching now and it's so much fun and we're doing this. And then there's one thing that I've always been like, oh, I wish they asked this question. And that is because if you were coaching me, or when you're coaching someone, and so like this, almost since my first marathon, I've been struggling with injuries.
Yep.
Right. And so that means that even though I had like one good week of running or 2 weeks of running, I fall back to the same injury or like get pain again, and I have to adjust. So I had to adjust the whole time. And as a coach, like whether that is when the pain is there, but also to prevent them to get, like, how are you able to monitor your athletes and make sure that, okay, I'm not pushing them too much. Oh, this person is now having pain. Like he or she is not able to run as much. How do you balance that?
I think the only way to be present with like your athletes is to be an involved coach. After I give any workout or any long run, I text every one of my athletes, like, how did that feel? Give me a snippet. What are we feeling? Did we push too hard? Wasn't it hard enough? And I think that lets me, mitigate injury risk, because then I'm like, all right, that was a good stimulation. We didn't go too far into the well or anything, or this type of workout, bothered some part of their body, like, some type of track workout bothered the hips. I'm not going to give that again. It doesn't work for them. So that's the one thing, like when I have like my onboarding call with people that I'm going to coach, they're like one guy yesterday asked me, he goes, oh, so you're not like copy and pasting like people's plans and other people's plans, or like, a mass generic thing? I'm like, no, like it's personalized to you, because every person's different. And I'm going to spend
super cool.
Yeah, and I'm going to spend the same amount of time on your plan as the other person, because you're completely different. And like I emphasize strength training with all my guys. Like I give strength training plans, and I emphasize, if you know that you have something that's going to bother you, the only way it's going to get better is if you recover and like rehab as hard as you train.
Yeah.
So if you know you have problems with your hips, you got to strengthen them, and you got to, take your Epsom salt baths, ice, recover and get your sleep in, hydrate.
Yeah.
If you do those things right, you're not going to have injuries. Granted, there'll be the freak stuff that happens, but if you do everything outside of the running right, you're not going to have injuries. But, as a coach, I think a lot of people can just give workouts and be like, we'll see how it goes. But don't check in after. Like,
exactly.
If it was a hard workout, I'm going to be like scared giving it to them. And then after I'm like, okay, how was it? Like, are you done for the day? Are you like, did we go too far? And then, we'll back off the next week. It's a forever changing thing. That's why I give weekly plans versus like, here's a generic 12-week plan. Like, because every week it's going to change.
And how do you also like coach them a little bit on how to like nutrition and sleep and recovery too?
Yeah. Yep. So nutrition during the block, I just kind of do, basic what nutrition to take on run, night before, basic carb loads. But before before a big workout and then before race day, we go have like a race day call where we go over race plan and everything, but we go over nutrition too. So we go over, the 3-day carb load, best foods to get in for that. I give them like the layout of how I want them to take their nutrition during the race, morning of, night before, and because it's a lot of things that people like overlook. Because whenever I give them, they're like, "Oh, like I didn't even think I was gonna do that," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's like this is the benefit. You learn all these things." But like during the block, if someone's feeling like they're always tired or something, we kind of look, all right, where's your sleep at? What's your nutrition at right now?
Yeah.
And that's also the benefit of the big group chat we have. Like some guys like throw different recipes that they like in there, or like, hey, yeah, this is what I'm eating before and it works for me. So it's like the community that I've built. It's also like helping me because I don't need to answer, I don't have time to answer everything every time, but having, 20 guys help each other out, it's awesome.
Yeah, this is really, really cool. I honestly, like, it makes me believe so much more in it, because
Absolutely.
I think it's easy for people to, when you hear people coaching, it's like, oh, it's just like you said, a 12-week plan.
Yeah.
And they're sending it to us, and they like, there might be some follow-up questions and stuff, but it's like another person trying to make money. But it's really sounds like you're in it for them, and obviously, like you said, it's a side hustle. Like you should also make some money on doing something like that. But it's just, I think this is really cool, and really hope that more people will join your community. And
sometimes I think I care more than them. Like before races, I'm like not sleeping also, and then they're like, oh yeah, it was great, and I'm like, all right, dude, I was so stressed out.
You have to make sure it doesn't affect your running too
exactly
much.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Hey, one last question before we end this, and that is a question that I have for my own Boston, and it's a very, very, I think it's a simple question, but that is, I'm not going to be able to document my Boston journey unless I bring my phone, and then I want to race Boston. And so, like, I have one of the Bandit tights, or like short tights. So I'm gonna be able to have the phone in my pocket if I want to, and I could film some during. What would you have done if you were me? I want to race Boston, but I still want to document it a little bit. What would your take on this be?
Bring the phone. It's worth it. Yeah. I didn't have mine, and I wish I did. I had some footage of like from my family at the end of the race, but I mean, dude, pulling out your phone's not gonna change anything. And you're gonna look back at that and be like, "Sick! I'm so glad I got that clip or whatever." Yeah. So I don't think I'm
gonna pull it up in middle of Heartbreak Hill.
Maybe focus more on that. Take the downhills maybe or the flat spots.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for this. I learned a lot. I think that this conversation might be very important for me in terms of Boston
Absolutely.
next Monday. And good luck at the Bayshore.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And good luck with your wedding. And then hopefully when this podcast is even bigger and you've done gotten even further with both coaching and your running, you can have you back on. And
absolutely. Oh yeah, man. I'll be here to support you from the start.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Super grateful to Chris for joining this podcast. Really thought that the part about the Boston was useful. I sure learned some things on that, and it definitely changed the race plan a little bit, and not going too hard in the beginning. Even though I thought that I could bank some time, it sounds like that's not really a good idea. Also very excited to see how his coaching will go going forward, and his Bayshore Marathon. We definitely have to have Chris back on this podcast, but I hope that you enjoyed this just as much as I did. Thanks for listening to the Marathon Podcast. I'll see you or hear you and talk to you in the next one.
You're listening to the Marathon Podcast, brought to you by Wild Studio.